Friends, what's up? So I really believe that 2022 can be the year for Nio and Xpeng, of which I am a big investor. I will give you some arguments for that. Let's listen for the interview, and after let's talk about the arguments that would really.
Okay, so Brian, global supply chain issues and chip shortages will continue to into the new year, into 2022. Now, how do you manage these challenges and maintain your delivery targets?
Well, it is a big question and big issue for the industry. And I think the chip shortage is making the visibility of delivery quite difficult to predict. However, I think as a young company, we are certainly currently at a smaller scale, so it's a much nimbler for us to manage versus some of the larger OEMs. We also actually have planned ahead of time, try to find alternative source of suppliers, and also to make earlier orders. So we're trying everything we can to manage it, but this will be I would say a situation well into next year. So we'll have to be prepared for that.
Okay, now talk to me about your plan for international markets, and also tell me, when will you launch the new flagship SUV G9 for the global markets?
Well, international expansion is a core strategy for Xpeng. We started laying the groundwork for international expansion in Europe starting a year ago. We're now opening offices in multiple countries in Europe, and we were ready to launch our international design vehicles probably by end of next year or soon after. The G9 is actually our fourth product. It's a beautiful full-size SUV packed with our technologies for autonomous driving, charging technologies. And we will launch it first in China by second half of next year, and then maybe 6 months later we'll launch it in the international markets, starting in Europe.
Okay. All right, now Xpeng unveiled its Xpilot 4.0 advanced driver system in October, so just recently. What's your technology roadmap moving forward?
Well, autonomous driving technology is a core part of our design for smart, capable vehicles in the future. And for us, Xpilot 4.0 will represent a huge step up, both in terms of computing power as well as algorithms can deal with much more complicated and complex driving conditions. So for Xpilot 4.0, we expect to achieve end-to-end city navigation guided pilot driving, which means that the car can drive in most of the scenarios in the city situation. Right now, we can only do that in highways. So as we progress that capabilities, ultimately we think we can actually experiment that in robotaxi scenarios, and that will be a huge breakthrough.
Okay, flying cars. Your affiliate company, HT Aero, unveiled the latest flying car. What's your plan for a low-altitude flying car launch?
Well, flying car, along with some other projects, is really a part of the ecosystem we try to create, leveraging our technology platform as well as our network of infrastructure. So flying car is designed to be able to drive as your daily driving EV, but has a capability to fly a short distance. We intend to launch that product commercially by the end of 2024, and hopefully by then I think we'll be able to allow in China test pilot in certain permitted zones. So we're very excited. That could be one of the future game changers.
All right, tell me about your outlook globally and in China.
I think EV momentum is still very strong. I mean, you saw the EV market in China has exploded this year with growth over 100%, and I think the very strong growth will continue next year with all the factors remain in place. But also, I think the competition is also kind of heat up with players introducing more models and pouring more dollars into EV and smart technology development. But I think for Xpeng, we want to make sure we maintain our leadership position in the China market, but also expand into global markets like in Europe, as well as in some other developed markets. In the long run, I think global opportunities will probably represent around 50% of our future potential market, and we're very excited about the opportunities there.
Okay, now the China EV sector, there's been some uncertainty around that due to the Chinese delistings. Investors want some clarity on this. Is there any insight that you can provide?
Well, we're monitoring the situation just like everyone else, including NYSE, I assume. This is a situation that's been evolving for many years already. Obviously, it has advanced to a stage that there's a clock that potentially start ticking. But I think the clock will take a few years to get to the final end. And there's still a lot of things can happen along the way. And as a company, we just need to be prepared to deal with any of the eventualities. So that's why we actually completed successfully our Hong Kong dual primary listing in summer this year, which means that we will be able to trade independently without a newer listing if that's ultimately the situation. So we're fully prepared, but I think we still think there's a chance things could actually reach a certain better solution. So we're hopeful that.
Okay. Well, Brian, it's wonderful to have you here in person back at the New York Stock Exchange, and thanks for joining me on Floor Talk.
Thank you, Judy.
So you heard it from the man. You heard it from the man, the Vice President and President Brian Gu, exceptional guy, super structured, speaks very clear, good English. And we can see that his argumentation is just very good. He's talking about the EV momentum, which is super high and will continue. He's talking about the delisting issue, which still has 2 years to unwind. And even if it goes that way, with the delisting of US, they can still go to Hong Kong. Of course, there will be less liquidity, but the investors still can invest there. And even if US investors have sanctions and cannot trade Xpeng shares in Hong Kong, Xpeng can still perform like CATL Battery, the first battery manufacturer of the world right now, which is only traded on mainlands, and it doesn't have any problems. It has a 10x every year. It 10x'd in 2020, 10x'd in 2021. It will probably 5x in 2022. We, the foreign investors, cannot invest there, but it still performs. So for those who will be able, even in the worst case scenario, will be able to invest in Hong Kong in Xpeng if it's delisted in the US, can still enjoy a 10x, a 20x, well, probably not a 10x, 20x, because the liquidity will be much, much, much lower. But I think that the 5x is, achievable for Xpeng and Nio. And let's see why. So as we saw the ramp, as we can see here, the ramp for Tesla. Okay, just 1 second. The ramp for Tesla from 2013 to 2017, it took them, when they were already ramped, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to 1,000 vehicles. I'm not counting the 2012, the 2011, 2010, when they had the microscopic, numbers of vehicles. And if you compare this 5-year period, even 6-year period, going from 0 to 100,000 vehicle production, Nio, it took only 4 years for Nio, as you can see here, and only 3 years for Xpeng. And they're estimated, or they will do probably 200 vehicles in 2022 estimate, and Nio will probably do 200 vehicles in 2022. Here, I think that the estimate in 2023 for Nio will be much, much higher. It will be in order of 500,000 vehicles, or maybe 1 million vehicles. And Nio will be completely on fire. Xpeng will have, is building the second and third factory right now. Actually, it built the second factory, it's building the third one, but it's small factories of 200, 300,000 capacity. Whereas Nio is taking example of Tesla, where it will build a 1 million capacity production facility, which is a big thing, and I think Xpeng should do the same, and probably their third or fourth factory will produce 500,000 or 1 million vehicles, because they still need the cash to do so. But that's a clear path to expansion. So that's why basically, guys, I think that Nio, Xpeng are still, even if they're capped by all the drama of the delisting from US market, I still think that they can be a 5x in the next year or two. Not financial advice. Do your own due diligence and follow for more content. See you, my friends.